Hello, my name is Chad Pricer, and today I'm going to show you how to lay out a form with JavaFx and SceneBuilder. Enjoy the video. Okay, so let's start by creating a new project. So we're going to create a JavaFX project using the Maven archetype. We're going to call it Form Demo. And the Maven archetype is going to create a bunch of files for us. Basically creates a project that is, we could run it right now. It's fully functional right out of the box. However, I'm going to remove most of these files because I want to show how to create the form from scratch. So let's remove these files. All right. So now we're ready to create our empty XML, fxml file. We're going to call it primary. And we're going to make sure we put it in the right package. All right, so now we've got an empty fxml file with basically just an anchor pane in it. And we're going to use that as our starting point, and we're going to open that up in SceneBuilder. Now, SceneBuilder is a tool that allows us to basically visually lay out our components. So we're going to basically create the form in here. You can see that it comes up with the anchor pane already in it. And we're going to add a grid pane to the anchor pane. This is going to hold our form components. So now we're going to grab a label. And we're going to call this name. I'm going to add a text field. And then I'm going to add a checkbox. We're going to call this make it work. I'm going to change the constraints on these columns in the grid so that my form elements don't get clipped. I'm also just going to make this text box a little bigger. All right. So now our form is kind of laid out. I'm going to go to the anchor pane and I'm going to change this into use computed sizes. And then I'm going to wrap this in a scroll pane. The scroll pane will basically allow us to as the form shrinks, we'll be able to scroll the form elements and still see them. So the scroll pane is set. And now, before we show this, I'm going to wrap this in a border pane because I want to add some buttons to the bottom of the form. So I'm going to use an HBox for the buttons. HBox is a really nice control. It basically lays out the form elements or components side by side horizontally. So now I'm going to add a couple buttons. And we're going to call this one save. We're going to call this one cancel. I'm also going to change the constraints here so that these are computed sizes so that kind of gets tight around the buttons. And then I'm going to put the buttons in the center of the page. So at this point, we should have a form that resizes nicely. You can see that the scroll bars appear when they need to. The buttons stay in the center of the screen and kind of move in and out. So the form resizes correctly. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to interact with these components in our code. And to do that, we're going to basically set up a controller. So what we want to do is set up the controller in the same package that our application is set up in. So I'm just going to copy this to make it easy. So that's the package, and I'm going to call this primary controller. So we set the name, that's going to be our class name. Now we basically have to set up some variables and click handlers to handle the events from the form itself. So we're going to select this text box. We're going to go to the code tab, and we're going to give this one a name of name text. We're going to give this a name of make it happen checkbox. All right. And then we're going to set up some on-click handlers. So this one's going to be on save action. And this one is going to be on cancel action. All right, so now we've got our controller set and our variable set. We're going to go in and view a skeleton of what the controller will look like. SceneBuilder generates this code for us, and now we can save that controller to our application, our source code directory. So I'm going to save that there. All right, it's saved. So now we have the controller in the project. We're going to go take a look at the code. So you see that the fxml file has been saved, and the fields that we created, the text field and the checkbox, are in here. All the constraints that we set are in here. Basically, SceneBuilder created this file for us, so this is really all set. So now let's take a look at the primary controller. This is the class that we saw that SceneBuilder stubbed out for us. So let's write some code in here. Let's on cancel, we're gonna set the fields back to their original state. So we're gonna set selected here to false, and then we're gonna set the name field. We're just gonna clear out the name field. All right, and now when we hit save, we're going to just simply print out the values of the text box and the selected checkbox. All right, just fix that there. Okay, so we're ready to make it happen. So let's run this code and check out the app. Takes a second to compile here. All right, here it is. Our form is up. We can see that as we go in tight, the scroll bars appear. We can go in here and type a name, check the box, hit save. We can see in the background here that the name and the checkbox true got printed out. We can hit the cancel button and clear out the form fields. So basically we have a nice little form here that's working. We have our event handlers all working. Most of this was done from SceneBuilder. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.